Can I solo simulated universe with dragons only? Join me in my Trailblaze powerless behavior and descent into madness. A few quick points. My Vidyadhara characters, aka the dragons, were E0S1 when this was recorded. I will let you know when Space Prism is used. All runs are done at world number max difficulty 5. At the end of each successful run, I will show the blessings I gathered. Feel free to pause if and when you need to. Lastly, my character builds will be shown at the end of the video. Only one of them changed throughout the challenge. To start, we have a problem. I have never tried a solo run in Simulated Universe. Nothing beats trial by fire. Let's see if Imbibitor Lunae can solo from the start.
Not yet. Not yet. Rise.
Noted. Imbibitor Lunae cannot solo from the start for a few reasons. First, unlike some destruction characters, he has zero self-sustain in his kit. The only way we can give him that is either from specific buffs we pick up or Clara's signature light cone. The second issue is that the point of Simulated Universe is to pick up buffs called blessings and items called Curios throughout the 13 domains, so you ramp up in power and are ready for the final fight. Sadly, the first elite enemy / mini boss is always early in the run in domain 3. Third, Imbibitor Lunae is powerful with his enhanced basic attacks, but it comes at a heavy cost of skill points. We'll get to this later. Since only certain characters can do the full solo runs, and we all know beating the final world boss is the real prize, let's do a little editing magic and cut straight to the final fight. Now we can discuss what I've learned from my failed runs and explain the game mechanics for those unfamiliar. First, for Curios we pick up, I would say Space Prism is the highest priority since it temporarily unlocks an Eidolon within the run, followed by Man-Made Meteorite since it is necessary to have a certain amount of path blessings to unlock additional buffs called resonant formations. Finally, the Doctor's Robe is nice for the path resonance energy and increasing its damage. When I start this challenge, I chose the destruction path for the higher chances of a few key blessings. You 100% need Disciplinary Flicker. It's used in nearly every Simulated Universe solo video, and I understand why after reading the description. Now, it isn't 100% foolproof as the bosses actively get stronger the longer the fight goes on, but the sustain is enough for most of it. Next, the ideal 3-star destruction buff is the one that gives us grit stacks every time a character is hit or loses HP, which is going to happen a lot. Lastly, we need the free enhanced revive buff. This past clip explains why.
This ends here.
Oh, no, Ian! No! Ian, you're the one who told me not to get the buff about resurrecting. You fool, Ian!
At this point, I circle back to what this video was originally. Can I solo with only Imbibitor Lunae? It's possible at max difficulty for sure. I mean, Gepard was down to 1% HP on phase 3 with the destruction path and no revive. However, it was clear that while destruction is decent for a generalist mix of sustain and damage, it's not good enough for Imbibitor Lunae and his skill point issue. So I forced myself to finish Swarm Disaster and unlock the propagation path. The resonance ability solves most of the skill point issues and boosts my basic attack damage. If I get both Disciplinary Flicker and Vesicle, I'll have enough sustain to avoid triggering my free revive buff until phase 3. Of course, it still requires a perfect run of RNG. Believe me, all of this so far was the culmination of a month's worth of failures. Sadly, most of the original footage was corrupted and swallowed by IX. Gepard also nearly broke me. I was stuck between bad RNG and solid runs that were so close that I nearly burnt myself out of Star Rail and scrapped the entire video for another day. Then I was doing a standard weekly run with a full team. I wasn't even thinking about the challenge anymore, and I don't know, maybe reverse psychology worked that day because I got a ceiling wax of propagation after the first elite, increasing the chances of getting propagation blessings. Then I got the space cheese after the second elite. Before Gepard, I already had 15 blessings of propagation, meaning I had all the resonance formation buffs. I also had all 3 of the destruction buffs I mentioned earlier. It was like all the stars aligned. After hyping myself up, I took the chance. If I can't do it here, it'll never be possible to solo Gepard on max difficulty with Imbibitor Lunae. Phase 1 is simple since Gepard doesn't get his full abilities. I had this one remembrance blessing called Perfect Experience Innocence. This is great for delaying the cannoneers by 1 turn after they are toughness broken. The soldier on the right is annoying because they apply a 50% defense shred that lasts for 2 turns. Gepard prepared a counter, so I used a normal basic attack, which luckily was enough to trigger phase 2. Now I start using my path resonance. I need to save the second charge for phase 3. It is a risky play because when Gepard activates his shield, it locks everyone's toughness, so I can't break or delay his cannoneers or kill them immediately to activate the healing from my hunt blessing. I stayed strong because I knew it would only take 2 max enhanced basics to deplete his shield. Breaking Gepard's toughness sucks because he gets his turn immediately due to how speed and action values work. This happens a lot in solo runs. He also doesn't get dissociation applied because Gepard has a baseline 75% freeze resistance. Luckily, I heal up before phase 3. Then I unleash everything in the hopes that I could one-shot or delay Gepard by 1 turn so he doesn't get his shield up again. Sadly, it didn't go my way. This fight was so close. I held off for as long as I could because the lieutenant's damage output with Gepard's 3-turn combo was enough to trigger my revive. I managed to get my final propagation resonance off, surviving by the skin of my teeth thanks to Flicker. One final middle finger to Gepard for the win.
Yes! 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 Oh my god. Oh my god, yes. It was doable. It was doable. Yes!
I was in disbelief, especially because I did it on April 1st. I was expecting to wake up the next day and see all of this was just a dream. I forgot to show the list of blessings because I was so excited, but I went straight to the wiki after this happened to write them all down while it was fresh in my mind. I'll leave them on screen for a little bit before we move on to the next world. Welcome back. For you, it's only been a few seconds. For me, it's been 7 months. That's how burnt out I was. In between that time, I unlocked the most significant upgrade. See, the devs added a bonus mode called Golden Gears, and fully completing it unlocks the ability to ban blessings from 2 paths in your simulated universe runs. It ain't much, but I'll take anything that increases my odds. Secondly, we got a new Vidyadhara character, Lingsha. This is great because I can do the Nihility stall strategy. I can't claim this strategy as my own though. All credit goes to Richie Naz on YouTube. It is simple. We run the path of Nihility to do all the heavy lifting since dot scales off the enemy's HP. 2 key blessings to get are Offerings of Deception and Before Sunrise for healing and energy respectively. Otherwise, pick up any remaining defensive blessings. Then all you need is a character who can sustain themselves, which Lingsha is more than capable of. For the Curios, I only got the Seal of Nihility this run. A bonus of using Lingsha is she does AoE with her skill, although the main reason for using it is for the healing and building energy for the ultimate. The only scary parts are when the enemy doesn't have any DOT applied to it currently because the status effects either expired before our resonance can activate again or were removed at the start of a new phase. Lastly, for those unfamiliar, Svarog starts summoning these hands to assist him in phase 3. Normally these are to grab and trap your characters. However, in solo runs, Svarog can't command them to grab at all. Breaking Svarog is still necessary for 2 reasons. One, the hands can't act on their own, so the game skips their turn. Second, Svarog eventually commands them to activate the self-destruct. Then you only have 1 turn before Svarog sends them your way to get 1 shot. It happened briefly here as I slow down this footage. Thankfully, the cancer got to Svarog first.
This aroma is much better.
World 5 Kafka is the easiest boss of the challenge. The main reason is, outside of phase 1, there are no extra trash mobs. We just need the eternally collapsing object blessing to avoid her key mechanics, Spirit Whisper, and psychological suggestion. Once we are dominated, it's game over if we don't have flicker for sustain. If we die and are revived, it does get rid of the dominated status. Imbibitor Lunae has a trace where he has a chance to resist a CC ability. Another reason Kafka is easier is that she doesn't output as much damage as, say, Gepard, even when her attack increases throughout the fight. I believe that since Kafka is a speedier character and gains the attack stacks quickly, the damage boost given to her is lower to balance. This is also countered when I have high grit stacks. Unfortunately, the way eternally collapsing object works is my effect resistance only increases the less HP I have. My talent didn't activate at the start either, so the next few runs were failures. God, I love RNG fishing in my roguelikes. Finally, after 7 attempts, I got the run. I avoided the first dominate and the second one. The one thing I hate about running the destruction path and having this resonance formation ability active is that when the resonance ability is applied back to back, the defense shred doesn't stack, it only refreshes it. Unfortunately, my HP was too high because Vesicle is healing me when I attack, so now I start getting dominated. Fun fact, apparently if you are already dominated and Kafka implants the suggestion, it snaps you out of it. She is hard throwing. I'm also consistently over 30 grit stacks at this point, so my survivability will hold out even when I get dominated. Yeah, that whole process repeated till the very end. Lingsha's stall against Cocolia was going well until she zero-cycled me with these freeze chains. Yeah, sure, freeze is bad when we use it, but it's broken on the enemy. Yeah, makes sense to me, Hoyoverse. The issue with the first attempt was that Cocolia wasn't dying fast enough from cancer, so the dot expired before I could reapply them. So I upgraded the Sensory Labyrinth and Blind Vision Blessings to lessen the chances of that happening. Enhancing these 1-star Nihility Blessings provides more value than most of the higher rarity ones. I also picked up the Space Cheese. I can't believe how good her E1 is. It feels dirty to have this temporary unlocked, but I suppose breaking with only a single character is already hard enough. I can toughness break Cocolia within 2 ultimate to follow up attack rotations. Like seriously, Bronya gets broken in 1 of those combos. Bronya, by the way, she needs to go. Phase 2 is the worst part of this fight because Bronya can action forward Cocolia, boost her attack, and cleanse all the DOT debuffs. The literal definition of the character as a boss versus the playable version. Once the Bronya is dead, it's simply a matter of surviving the annoying constant freezes, which I can do thanks to grit stacks and Lingsha's cleanses. Normally, I would not auto battle for challenges, but playing manually makes no difference after phase 2. Plus, if I need to, I can press the resonance ability at any time when available. Now, as a bonus, my friend and I were curious how Abundance and Preservation paths with Lingsha solo would fare. Abundance might be barely doable if you get the Space Cheese. I had it, but Aha was preying on my downfall with the trigger 10 random effects occurrence, and I lost it. Even so, the extra damage you get from Dewdrop isn't as impactful since only 1 character is being healed. The fight was so long that I triggered the Berserk mechanic, which meant I was not surviving these last few hits. Preservation with Space Cheese is doable, but I wouldn't recommend it as the run entirely depends on getting these 3 blessings, especially Construct Patch, so that a non-preservation character can gain shields and the buffs that come with shields. The Resonance ability is also lacking in terms of damage because our shields are so small. I didn't even know Lingsha died until I reviewed the footage because I was AFK for 10 minutes.
Judgment of eternal winter.
If you're tired of me glazing Space Prism, don't worry, I didn't get it when I fought the deer. I held off on my second ultimate, waiting for both of the outrage status effects to be applied to me and the deer to attack. Plus my follow-up cleanses the status anyway, so it's neglectable. One annoying thing about the deer is he is also the king of stalling. The devs gave him 2 ways of self-healing in phase 2. That's only cool when I do it. Lingsha should be tanky enough to survive the deer's triple attacks in phase 3, so the only scary move is if the peach tree summons activates, action forwards the deer and shoots its laser. The deer's toughness expired right after his triple attack, so I got the huge break damage to finish the fight.
Be of your body and mind.
For the first run, honestly, not too bad. I didn't have flicker, so it's good to know that I can last quite a while without it, or so I thought. Like Gepard, this fight took a lot of trial and error. I am confident I can get through phase 1 even with awful blessings. The main issue with this fight is the stupid freaking swords that do so much chip damage. Each one also has a chance to freeze me. Sadly, I'm not living his final attack, so flicker and the free revive are necessary to clutch up at the end. The swords are also ridiculously tanky. They share one of the same weakness types as Yanqing. The ones without imaginary weakness are not destroyed easily with run rotation. This attempt was so close too. I was pretty upset because I had 2 blessings that gave me revives. I just needed to attack him with 1 more enhanced rotation and it would have been over. Next, I tried the destruction path for comparison, and yeah, it's still not good for Imbibitor solo. Then I tried the Lingsha stall, and I think Yanqing's ridiculous speed and his swords hard counter how fast we can apply DOT and Lingsha's sustain. The propagation path is my best bet. It just sucks that I am also a glass cannon. Like Gepard, I needed the RNG with the blessings to line up perfectly again. While I keep resetting, it's time to finally address what I have some control over, my build of Imbibitor Lunae this whole time. I now realize how much I was throwing in Worlds 3 and 5 prior. I used to run Pela on my Imbibitor Lunae team, so I was getting value out of that Wastelander 4-piece passive. I checked online and the Spores effect doesn't count as a debuff, so no 4-piece effect against Yanqing in a solo. After testing between a mix of 2-piece Wastelander and Musketeer, and then a 4-piece Musketeer set, both having nearly the same stats, I found that a 4-piece Musketeer was slightly better for my solo. I needed every drop of DPS possible to succeed. I had such a good run in the making, and of course, aha strikes again, this blessing was buffed and then immediately lost it. The run was unplayable after. I spent a long time deciding between which of the 3-star propagation blessings I should upgrade and enhance. Sight Limbs is not worth it since it's only 5% more crit damage and no additional effects. Increasing the spore count an enemy can have to 9 on an enhanced fungal postule would be fine if it wasn't that the spores are applied randomly. I need consistency, so I went with the spore discharge primarily for the bonus speed effect. For my rotation, I do my first max enhanced basic attack after I use my ultimate. Then I use the first resonance ability to action forward and boost my next max enhanced attack. This is to get energy from my next ultimate faster. The freeze is unfortunate, but I know my ultimate is enough to trigger phase 2. Repeat the process again. I got my ultimate back to trigger phase 3. Oh, of course he froze me again. It's fine, the action forward will at least unfreeze me quicker. Are you serious? Another freaking freeze? Fortunately, I had my revive followed by getting enough energy for another resonance ability to action forward myself and finally get my victory. Sent this kid back to training.
Break!
I failed.
World 9 is impossible for a Dragons Only solo because of the meme's special mechanic. It has 2 variations of a move that instantly kills you, sort of. The meme can only capture a maximum of 2 characters at a time, so it is possible with a team of 3 dragons if the remaining character can break our teammates fast enough from the Morbid Dream effect. I was going to count the challenge completed by beating the first phase solo. That is fair and doable. Sadly, without Hoyoverse releasing another new Vidyadhara character anytime soon, this is as far as we go.
Regular 5-star characters? After the version 2.7 update and until version 3.2 ends, Trailblazers can claim Gift of the Express and obtain 1 regular 5-star character of your choice!
It may seem like I structured the video like this on purpose to create suspense, but genuinely, never in a million years would I believe we would get another free 5-star standard banner selector. The Honkai Star Rail team proved once again that they are the GOATs. Bailu and Lingsha are sacrificed in phases 2 and 3, so Imbibitor Lunae gains an additional damage buff from his dad mode activating, while the propagation resonance helps too. Sweet dreams in your eternal rest, meme.
Awaken, Thorn's blood-cleansing dragon.
Thank you all who made it to the end. I hope you enjoyed my suffering. Consider subscribing for more challenge runs and video essays. I'm DragonLordLeda, and until then, on to my next video.